I realize. Oh, there we go. Okay, I realize that it's going to probably be a while before any of you actually get to this challenge. That's fine. But I did want to make sure that I made a video about this and that information got out there because this is information I can't expect you to know. So I'm working on the Pirates Treasure DLC Keegan Challenge. I already made a video talking about the function that I found with the verify key and everything. I've been going through it to parse it down, eliminating, as many. I wasn't sure what kind of Keegan it was. I don't know what the implementation was. So it might have been something as simple as some kind of like string compare, and that would be easy to figure out, or something. There could have been a number of ways that this could have been done, right? This is any kind of input validation could be a Keegan challenge. But so I'm going through, and I figured out that the password cannot contain spaces, cannot contain dashes. We got some code here for converting lowercase to uppercase letters. None of those are a surprise, right? The input's got to be standardized, so no issue there. There's this character set array here, the string that's converted to an array that looked like alphanumeric characters, and then I realized that it's not all alphanumeric characters. It's in fact missing G, I, O, and S. So we know the password can't contain any of those characters. And then I found out that what looks like is happening, and this is I'm actually going back and forth between the assembly instructions and the pseudocode, and just kind of going back and forth. So between the assembly instructions and the pseudocode, it seems to me like there is a loop that goes over the characters and actually creates some kind of custom array, like uh, some kind of encoding based on character positions. So it will basically create an array based on that. So we're converting letters into numbers, and then and the numbers are based on their position in the string. Then we see that there is a compare here with hex 18, which is des 24. So I know that the input length has to be 24 characters or fewer. And then in the assembly instructions, it looks like there is actually a compare with hex 19, which means that the total value of our string must be 25. There must be 25 characters. But you enter 24. The player will enter 24 characters, but the password or the key appears to be 25 characters. Which if I come down somewhere along the way, yes. Which means that I believe that the 25th character is a validator, sort of like a checksum. And there's actually in the assembly instructions, there's eventually a sum. So it seems like the 24 characters the player enters are summed together, and then that equals 25, and that 25th character is compared. Anyway, all of that's neither here nor there. The thing I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about, however, is when I got down here to the bottom and I'm sifting through it, I noticed that, I saw this, right? X10001. And I realized that this might be some kind of RSA implementation because this is a very common public exponent. It's practically a standard, which equates to 65,537, which is a number that's also significant in a number of other areas in computing. But since it's a Keegan challenge, an RSA implementation makes sense. And then I saw that these were all basically being concatenated together. And so I said, well, if this is a public exponent, then could this be our modulus? And so I did a little calculations. It looks like that may be the case. If that is the case, I wanted to make sure that I made this video to let everybody know what this is, because I can't assume that any of you have any experience with cryptography. If we have a cybersecurity curriculum, but it hasn't run. It's new, so I can't assume that you've had any exposure at all to doing any kind of cryptography or anything like that. So I guess go ahead and pause the video here. This is about what I figured out so far, which isn't very much. Actually, you can strike this here because I made an oopsie there. So essentially what we have is if we concatenate all this together, we're given a hex string, and if we convert that to des, then we get this, and then we're able to factorize that to get our P and our Q. RSA is a very simple equation. Both forward and backward. It's a way of deriving asymmetric keys. So essentially what you do is you take P and Q, right? That's the two numbers that we see right here. Actually, hold on. I think I have the site up here. Okay, so if we take P and Q, right, and we do this, then we're going to get our modulus, all right, which we already have here. All right. From there, then we're able to find phi, and which is going to be a number that's derived. You can see P minus 1 times Q minus 1. All right, and from there, then we're able to find factors, prime factors of that number, which we call K, and then one of those is going to be E, which is our public key, and one of those is going to be D, which is our private key, which means that we can then encrypt and decrypt messages, right? So if a message is encrypted, we can decrypt it. If a message is decrypted, we can encrypt it, and it can be decrypted with that same key later on. I also discovered somewhere along the way here, so the string contains Pwn Adventure 3, the string PWNADV3. I figured that out by coming, the code for this is way longer than I thought it was going to be in assembly. But anyway, right here, right? So we see a move, the string is moved in there. That's about as far as I've gotten right now. So if you're having trouble with the RSA portion, I mean, feel free to ask some questions. It's actually pretty simple when you do some research on it. So if you're not sure what this is, go ahead and do some research on it with the numbers that you see here, which maybe if this works out for me, I might go ahead and provide these numbers to the class just so with a brief explanation so that you don't have to do transcribing here. But I'm going to wait to see if I'm not barking up the wrong tree here first, because if this is all worthless information, then I'm not. But if it is, and you want to try and figure it out sometime in the meantime, go right ahead. Just want you to know what you're looking at, because unless you have experience with RSA, you're not going to look at that value and you're not going to say, oh, this is RSA, right? You would look at that and you would wonder what that value could possibly be. Oh, you also notice that I've been changing some of the variables around, which do and do not currently still make sense. So don't worry about this or any of the other names that I've changed. All right, that's it. Thanks.